Hello, my name is Luna, and you're listening to Infinite Souls, a podcast for that real talk about consciousness, spirituality, and realizing our infinite potential. Mucho, mucho love and light. Hello, hello, Infinite Souls. How are y'all doing today? Happy Friday. I am here with a lovely guest. You guys have heard her before on this podcast. If you've been following, her name is Lauren Bruno. Say hi, Lauren.
What's up?
Hi, hi, hi. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy to have you here. And how are you doing, first of all, first and foremost?
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. I am flowing. I'm glowing right now. Feeling a bit of emotional roller coasters, but also within the body, feeling
Mhm.
really nourished with myself.
That's beautiful. Yeah, feeling the
But yeah,
waves. I have also been feeling the waves of change, feeling the waves of emotions, and a lot of change for me personally. And I think also in the collective as well. We're going to be undergoing or are undergoing, have been undergoing changes for quite some time.
mhm.
Yeah. So, speaking about emotions and going with the waves of your emotions. What can you tell us about balancing our emotions? What, if you want to share any stories um, about the current energies?
Absolutely. Yeah. Emotions and regulation is one of the biggest things we can do for ourselves, for our body, and to connect to the superconscious. When we release any pain or shame or guilt that we have stored with our subconscious. And our subconscious is really what we grew up in, what we're surrounded by, and what we believe to be positive and negative. So, for example, any stored pain in the body in terms of physical pain, something that you can feel in your womb center, say you have sex with someone and you regret it after. It wasn't really an aligned connection, but you kind of just did it anyway because maybe, I don't know, maybe you thought that it would have been a good idea or something like that, and you're feeling regret through it. You might actually store physical pain in your body from that the next couple of days. And so being able to regulate the emotions is to fully feel into your body and allow any words to come up, any sensations to come up that might have stored that trauma, and sending it more compassion, more breath, more presence, and allowing it to not overpower you, not take you over. Instead, let it release from your body and know that you did the best that you can with what you were given at the time. So, emotional regulation, especially in terms of hypnotherapy, and what I do as a practitioner is to help those feel into their bodies. Um, and any words, any experiences, any memories, any trapped thoughts are emotions that are stored. So we're able to move that energy along our organs, through our organs, and so that they can feel safer and we can feel safer in our bodies, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. It's wonderful. Thank you for explaining that so beautifully. Yeah, emotions are fleeting, ever changing, but they are the key to everything. Like they're the key to our gifts and our abilities.
Mm,
The more that you can sense and tap into your emotions and discover parts of yourself that then later get healed once they are discovered, because you followed that emotion, that you don't want to follow every emotion. You want to have the discernment of which emotion is yours, which emotion is trying to tell you something. You'll know intuitively because it's been probably in the back of your mind the whole week, and then Friday it something happens and it is like there. And so now you have to face it.
Mhm.
So letting emotions guide you, but having the discernment to know which emotions um are yours, because we pick up emotions from other people, from the collective. And we also have, as with everything going on, as a female, our womb space needs a lot of healing collectively. um the feminine does need to do a lot of emotional healing, which is going to be in your sacral chakra. um Now, masculine, feminine, male, female, everything in between and outside of that, there are no, we're non, what do you call it? Non-binary. No, well, we're a non-binary show.
Mhm.
So, male and female, masculine and feminine, every human being on the planet has the sacral chakra. These are energy centers that are within the body. We have a lot of chakras, some outside of the body, a lot of them. But that's the emotional center, which
Mhm.
is your second chakra. So it gets stored there. And so we have to do, I think that healing that is going to be very important for the collective right now with everything that's coming up. um this is Anger is an emotion, and it's coming up for a lot of women, and it's healthy to feel that. Let yourself feel the emotion, and then you're not going to let it control you, right? You're going to transmute that energy into something that's going to fuel you in a positive way, for you to be aligned to your highest path and to raise the collective consciousness.
Mm,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
absolutely.
Yeah. And the I mean, if you want to, the Roe versus Wade thing, if you want to just touch on it really quick, um, it's it's a sign. I think this is a catalyst. It's going to be a catalyst for another wave of enlightenment, where people are going to realize, hey, maybe we need to change um, this current society, this construct, how it runs, because it's not in our best interest. It's not looking out for us. It is a machine that is just honestly wanting to make money and control people and keep being at the top of the pyramid.
Mhm.
And so it's going to shake a lot of people and awaken a lot of people who thought that this could not happen in this day and age. And so it is going to create a catalyst, I believe. So I think that everybody should have hope and continue to do the healing, right? It's a light to tell us about our healing.
It is. It is. And what you mentioned about anger, I think about passion and anger as being a really fine line in between them. We have this force which is within the sacral, which is our creative directive energy. And it's our passion center. It's really what fuels us and what drives us towards change. So there is a thin line between anger and passion. And when anger isn't controlling us or bringing us down, we are able to let go of old systems, old ways of thinking and being, and really passionately direct that energy towards something new, something completely new. And for old systems, we know that they're not serving us anymore. We know that our body autonomy is one of the most important things in this world. And especially as women, as powerful women or non binary, we do believe in the masculine and feminine within us. But with our womb portal, we are able to direct that energy towards a whole new way of living and being. And no system is going to tell us otherwise. I firmly believe that. And with or without the approval of any government, we can still have all of our knowledge, our abilities in medicine, in what we are fueling our bodies with, in how we can serve the world in better ways. And so, yes, with this energy, there's lots of sacred rage to be transmuted and then passion to be created. I remember I did a public speaking presentation in college freshman year, and I was pro choice for my presentation. And there was an opponent that was pro life that also spoke about this. And he was a male, and I'm obviously a female. And so I remember being so passionate about how orphanages, there's not enough space for children to grow up if you can't raise this child, or rape obviously is a big thing, and bringing a child into the world where you didn't intend for that to happen. That's one of the biggest topics. And I remember this man giving his presentation, and truly just, it was obvious that's how he was brought up, in his belief systems was to bring babies into the world. And um, it was funny because he was like, there are opportunities for children to be in orphanages or other places to be brought up, if so. And he really didn't intend for any harm upon me. And so we looked at these two perspectives and we saw them, and they were what they were. And it's wild to think that the only way is rules and systems, because I don't think it is.
Yeah, everyone, I can agree with that. Every one thing that I know for sure, no matter what race, gender, uh, where you're from, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody wants peace, and freedom. They want to have their own personal sovereignty, their bodily autonomy. People want to be free, that's why people come to the US, because we're the land of the free, right? And they get here and they're like, oh shit. Yeah, but like um I think the major picture for all of us right now is for us to create that bodily autonomy and have that sovereignty within ourselves, where we feel empowered to stand in our truth and what feels right and what feels wrong, and what we should speak up and talk about, and you know what we want to set in place, what we want our future to look like, because we the people are the ones who create all this. We've created all this. So we can change it. We can transmute it, you know? So I think there's hope. And um, I know there's, like ourselves, we don't believe in the government, or we're not like, you know? So people say, well, how are we going to create the change? How, if the system is in place to keep us oppressed, like the majority of people, because it's like a pyramid, right? And the lower part, which is the pyramid, the bottom of the pyramid that's holding the 1% at the top, has to be basically, for lack of a better word, slaves, and it's the real word, because this country, I mean, I love passion here. This country was founded on slavery, on getting money off of somebody else's back, you know? And if it was founded on that, then that has to crumble and come a way out of that. You know, that's what we're going to have to lift up from the roots. And that's just how it's been, you know. And so now this is slapping us in the face and showing us the truth, showing us the truth. So I speak about this on TikTok, but I did a video saying, you know, that since the earth has ascended, since Gaia has ascended, she is a feminine energy, keep that in mind. And we've been also oppressing her. So earth has ascended, we're catching up, and anything from the old paradigm that does not vibrate at the earth's new vibration is going to fall away. It's happening. People thought that it was going to unfold slowly, but I think it's happening really fast for us, um, which I think is a good thing in a way. That means that people are awakening and seeing the bigger picture here. But so all of these old paradigms have to fall away, which means, you know, things like this are going to happen to shake things up. So yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because it's just it's so freaking wild. Everything that when you first have your awakening, all the shit that you discover, like, oh my God, I've been lied to my whole life. All that shit is now just straight up in our faces. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no denying it now. There's no going back. We're only going forward or up. We're going up.
Mm-hmm.
We're rising. We're rising. We're rising. Keep your focus and your in your mind on that, on the rising of this new paradigm, this 5D or whatever you want to call it, you know. We're doing it, and this is proof. So keep your heads up and keep lifting the vibration and healing that female wound, that feminine wound. I think is going to be very, very important for us. Um, what what can you do to have personal sovereignty so that, you know, we can create the change, because the change starts with us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we talk about body autonomy and sovereignty within our bodies, and we're slapped in the face like that, how do we recreate and go in that upward spiral while also knowing and not bypassing any emotions that are we need to feel in order to transmute that energy in the downward spiral, and it goes up and a little back down, feel it, and then back up, and we're pulling that from the earth because Mama Gaia has us to transmute that, and that is bringing the vibration higher. But also anything in this world within our own bodies is nourishing our body with fruits and vegetables that are of organic nature, knowing that we are more aligned with spirit, with our purpose, and with our power when we are fueling our bodies with good food, our minds with calming energy, music that is balancing and free, consciously created, because this is all affecting our collective subconscious. And whether or not you believe that some of these things can be fear tactics for control in order to direct collective energy towards something, how do we take that power back, right? How do we bring it back so that we can direct the energy towards bigger change and brighter creation, um, within our sovereignty of our being? And we're lucky. We're still able to rebel right now. We're not robots in the cog of the machine of earthly slavery. Like, we are free and wild to be exactly what we choose. And there is so much magic within the superconscious. It is truly releasing any pain still within our subconscious so that we know and believe that we can create a whole other world without the systems that we were brought up in, without even the school systems. I believe that children don't even need to be in them personally.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, the school system, that's, it's like, I don't know if you people hearing have or people listening, if you have heard of the school to jail pipeline. So the way that it's set up is that people or kids, young people in lower income communities that are in public school, the way that it's set up for them to lose basically and make them like criminals. There's study and data and stuff like that. I'm not going to really get into it, but basically is training them and indoctrinating them and programming them to act out of line and do things that are against the law and end up in jail. And then they get stuck in the system because of oppression and poverty. We already know all that. And it just becomes a cycle. And then now they're in the system. If they do become like high level criminals, then they're able to get free work from them from being locked up. So that's how they get their slavery now, through the prison system. So there's still slavery. um, and I believe there's legal and illegal slavery still happening in the United States for people who want to deny it. Um, but we're not going to really get into that today, okay? I want to keep this show positive, and because I feel that what we need right now is direction, and support in our healing and everything that we are feeling. Because with great change, it's going to come great emotions. Because how do you heal something? You feel it, right? Feel it to heal it. So, I want to talk about bodily autonomy. Um, it is it's gonna it means that we are in control of our bodies. We have rights to our bodies, and and you create that energetically too, so that you're not taking on other people's energy, right? I work with a lot of energy, so I want to hear more about bodily autonomy, how to get into my body. I know there's a lot of practices, breath work, qigong, yoga, that stuff gets you into your body, right? What practices do you think are easy, something that people can do like right away if they don't feel autonomous?
Definitely hypnosis and meditation. I do have an emotional release one on my YouTube that I posted
Mm.
recently on how to feel any stuck emotions in the body. Um, there's ways to move the energy from the earth up your main anchor point channel, which is along your vagus nerve of your body, through your brain, almost like a fountain out of your crown, really moving that energy is a daily practice. And many movement routines like Qigong or Tai Chi will help us to feel that energy more and know that anyone you surround yourself with, you're taking on, not necessarily taking on, but you're in their auric field and they're in yours. So you are sharing energy at a certain point. And we were talking a little bit about before about the empath taking on certain energies, not knowing necessarily what's their emotions or what are other people's. And so a big part of body autonomy is to stand in your own anchor, in your own frequency, and not to take on other people's emotions so that you can stand with maturity and ooh, the thunder just thundered.
Oh, disagreement. Yes.
and you're autonomously relating to others while sharing your perspectives and not expecting other perspectives to be exactly your own. Um, and necessarily, we're not here to fix other people. We're here to just represent our own truth in our own sovereignty. And so, autonomous relating, intimacy workshops, all of these things are really great ways to feel more sovereign in your body because you don't allow other people's emotions to take over your own. And so, those are great practices. Just always the will, the want, the desire, the belief that we are becoming better people each day, each moment, each breath. Um, and when we're surrounded by others that are here to help us grow and empower us to stand for our sovereignty, other practices, definitely breath work for sure. The breath is something we're not taught in school, right? You think like the first thing when you come out of the womb should be, let's know how to deep belly breath. You will have way
Yeah.
less anxiety if you are breathing deeper into the belly. The
Yeah.
shallow breaths can be a way that anxiety resides. And
Mhm.
even if someone's having a panic attack, it's a very shallow breath. So to understand anchoring in your center with the breath is so important. And there are layers. If there is stored trauma, then there's steps of progress to work with the breath even more and the different types of breath. One of my favorites lately is the shaman's breath. It's belly, chest, like belly out, up to the chest, and then out with a fiery sigh. It's like,
Yeah.
and it's scooping the energy like from the womb into the heart, which I think is huge to relate to other people with the heart versus our sacral, which sometimes happens. So like scooping that energy from the earth, from the root into the sacral, into the solar, into the heart, and then connecting more with the heart is yeah, allows for creation to form in all relationships. Some
Yeah.
of your favorite practices for body autonomy?
Oh, yeah. Well, I love everything you said. Thank you. Well, for body autonomy, so I do want to just touch before I get onto what the practices that I do, what I think what's well, we can talk about this, but what is the reason people lose their body autonomy a lot of the time? You know, I've been reading this book, um, The Body Keeps the Score, which is a really famous book. A lot of people have read it. I'm halfway, but it's amazing, right? And I think I'm a little bit more than halfway, but there's a lot of things that I connect with just because I have trauma from a childhood, sexual trauma. And that is what disconnected me from my body, because you run away from your body from that trauma and you run up here to your consciousness to where it's safe, and you start to compartmentalize things, you ignore things, you push down emotions. I mean, it can manifest in different ways for other people, but this is how it manifests for myself in my life. And that's what disconnects a lot of people. Trauma is sometimes a lot of the time the thing that pulls you away from your body. um and so for me, grounding is very important, that I have some type of grounding practice, whether it's going to be breathing, like breath work, meditation. I love meditation. I meditate every day. Um, Going out into nature, hugging a tree. Yes, I hug trees. I am that girl.
Mhm.
I'm that girl that you see hugging a tree, okay?
Yes.
Hugging a tree, putting your fucking feet in the sand, in the ocean, on in the grass, you know, connecting with nature. Even what I did the other day was very grounding for me, that I didn't think was a grounding technique, but so where I go for a walk by my house, I take my puppy for a walk every morning. We run. And there's a lot of trash that people leave behind because there's a really nice view here. And
Mm.
so sometimes I pick it up, when there's things that are there. But I what I did was I purchased this thing where you pick it up, like this long stick that has a little clamp at the end. So I could pick up the trash because I don't want to be using my hands, and I can do a better job. And so, but I just wanted to do it for the earth because I love her. And me doing this out of my time for the earth really grounded me and put me in such a beautiful, amazing space, and even created harmony within my life for me to be able to receive more blessings from the universe, from the earth, and creating the change with the community around me that I can visibly see. But yeah, it was so grounding for me to just do that, to pick up trash, and it's interesting. The randomest things could be grounding, but I think it was grounding because I was doing it for the earth, and I was really connecting with the spirit of the earth when I was doing that. So that's something you can do if you want. Something new I just discovered. Um, and another thing that I did want to touch on that you mentioned was, you know, where you were, I think it's very important when people talk about sovereignty, people understand it. When you understand it, you understand that every human being has their own personal sovereignty, not just you. And so you're going to respect that, right? You're going to respect other people's sovereignty, other people's energetic bubble, even though our energies are playing with each other constantly, like, um, and so realizing that not only I have sovereignty, everybody has sovereignty, then that helps you to have conversations, real conversations, open conversations, where even if you don't end up believing the same thing, you don't come to an agreement, you still can have peace and love towards each other as human beings existing in this planet with personal sovereignty. You know what I
Mm,
mean?
definitely.
So I think that's super important to touch on. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Anything that comes up for you that you want to touch on personally?
Yeah, a lot of things that you mentioned are so important. And the first being abuse as a child, sexual
Mhm.
abuse. And it is absolutely obscene how much that's a common theme with people, is that we, myself included, experience childhood abuse. And with that comes disassociation from the body, repression of any memories or experiences that did happen, and then not understanding why disassociation occurs, because at a collective level, pedophilia and childhood sexual trauma exists. And so making it aware, talking about it is one of the main things. And also releasing that stored trauma so that you can feel safe in your body. Know that those ancestral lines are healing as you are healing, and representing a world that truly is integrous and honorable and respectful of all living beings, and the innocence of children, the purity, the ability for children to be brought up in a world that is more intrinsically communicative with nature and with their own body autonomy, whether or not that's vaccines, whether or not that's going to certain areas of living. Um, it can be up to us as we're raising new children and creating new worlds, and knowing that even those little things, even those collecting trash with the earth, that's so huge, to feel more at one with all of existence, to feel closer to nature and grounded. And the biggest thing to release trauma is also to be closer to the earth. And yeah, that was just kind of the stream of consciousness that came up from that. But
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah, it's so true. What you said, that so many of us have the same types of traumatic experiences as children. Not just women, but men too, and everyone in between and outside of that has a lot of people, not everyone, but a lot of people have experienced some type of sexual trauma, abuse, assault. I believe it's one in every four girls and one in every eight boys, something like that. So it's that's pretty major. And I remember we did our class of sensuality and sexuality, and I got into these facts and they came up for me. And what came up was that the reason that we have this trauma, that a lot of people have this trauma or do this to others, is because we are disconnected from our own sexuality, because it's a very, very, very powerful force, sexual energy. And if we don't understand it, it can be, twisted, or as a child, you can be assaulted or attacked because you're innocent. And these energies are just flowing around like crazy, and sometimes it's passed on, but it's because we don't understand it that we're disconnected from it. It disconnects us from our bodies. We feel guilt and shame over it. We don't understand it, and we're not free to express it in a lot of cultures. And so that creates this weirdness around it, that you can't understand it, you can't put your finger on it. And if you have trauma, if there are mental health issues, if you have abuse issues with substances or things like that, that can only get worse. um, and so what's important is that we understand, okay, this is happening, this is a reality. So if we're disconnected from our sexuality, this is what's creating the problem. Maybe if we connect with this, with our sexualities, and we understand it, maybe we can create better futures, right? Because there'd be more people that understand these energies, right? And they're going to teach their kids, and it's just going to evolve. Um, and I lost my train of thought, but the healing, okay, so not only healing that, but also healing, getting in touch with our emotions, right? Healing the earth. So the first two or three chakras, I think, are the ones that um need the most work as a collective, I feel. um because I mean, I know we're talking about bodily autonomy, but that's where your body, that's where it comes from, your sense of safety, your root chakra.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so these are the ones that we need to focus on, I feel, as a collective, in order to heal and start to unpack that trauma. But first is facing it, first is accepting it for what it is. And because people don't or haven't accepted or faced it in the past, now things like this are unrolling because people still have that same consciousness, until the people that are awakened or understand the energy a little bit better, then they're going to start standing up, right? They're going to start trying to make the change. So I think us as healers and light workers, it's important for us to help others to heal that trauma, especially if we've done healing ourselves. I know the healing is always constant. It doesn't end, you know, it's the healing is just consistent. It not that it doesn't end, it's just you see better, different versions of it. Like you see the lesson, but you see it in a different, in a higher light, and it gets easier, and it gets easier, and it gets easier. The more you, the when you start doing the healing, the more you start to heal, the easier that is going to become for you. It takes a while. Different. I mean, it's different for everyone, you know. But I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's important to have support, um, and to know that you're not alone. You're not the only one. It's the earth telling us, hey, time for you guys to look at your trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Look it up. Look at your trauma. Yeah. So, um, yeah, anything that you want to add to that or touch on?
Whew, yes. Um, it is true, those lower chakras, as we awaken and realize more of the oneness of the earth and how we are connected, like the roots of the trees underneath the ground. Um, we can support each other through sending some water through our root systems underneath. And it's wanting and willing to be a better person every day, more so than healing. It's growth, and growth can come with some form of pain, but pain and pleasure in this earthly realm is intrinsically connected. What some may view as pleasure is pain for other people, and vice versa. And so when you look at a collective subconscious void or superconscious abyss of ourselves as one, we recognize that yes, we are individuals and we're uniquely different, but we're also so similar in certain ways. So as we are making the unconscious conscious, becoming aware of the depths and the darkness in the womb of the earth, then we are rising. And that's really, like you mentioned, our sexual power is the most powerful force of nature that we have. So, not allowing that to control us or to feel any shame or guilt around our sexual power, rather allowing that kundalini to rise, awakened, make itself known, not bypass anything either, not pretend that it's all hunky dory and okay. More so knowing that there is a support system, and owning your sexuality and your power is how we will create new worlds and birth new portals in this realm through awareness and then realization and then actualization, really actualizing how we see the world, which is more communal living for me, more regenerative land, more children being brought up in realms of play and arts and dance and feeling safe, being seen in all of their emotions, feeling truly seen in all aspects of their being. And we're becoming more mature with this. We're flourishing in maturity as we're able to direct that sexual energy towards new creations rather than allowing the collective, allowing anything else to control us. We are the forces of nature.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how you said that's just so beautiful how you said it. Just the way it's just so poetic to me. So one thing that did come up for me as you were speaking was just I mean we're probably going to end the podcast soon. I don't know how long we've been on here, but um for healing that sacral chakra. Things that you can do are hip openers, stretching to open those hips, or yoga to open those hips, dancing. Those hips don't lie, honey. Move them hips, girl. Let them speak their truth, okay? And just put on the music. Like I was watching a live by Sad Simone, I think his
Oh,
name. Sad. Yeah,
yeah.
and he was saying, put on some music, a good song, your favorite song or whatever, and just fucking dance and breathe. And so this is the therapy that he does. He dances and breathes. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing. Okay, just be sober. And watch how the emotions begin to move through you. You just start to just flow. Your body just begins to move on its own, and the emotions just fly out of your body, right? I mean, sometimes when you're just beginning on this, um, emotions are going to come up for sure. Let them out. Cry, scream if you have to. Let it out, feel it, heal it, and then you integrate the truth. You integrate the truth because you've let something go. Now you've got to bring in the new program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So hip movements, dancing, that's going to release a lot of emotions from there. I'm moving my hips right now. If you guys are
I know, right? I was
watching,
gonna be
I'm like,
like, let's
woo,
go.
yes. Yes.
Balances the root chakra too when you shake your hips out.
Yes. Oh, yeah, those are all amazing practices that you can do to release those stuff we want to release, and transmute and transform and create, like you said. I freaking love it.
I love you.
I love you too. Oh, Reiki too. Reiki. I also do Reiki. I do Reiki and Lauren does hypnotherapy. So either of those practices will help you with your emotions, with trauma, with anything really. It helps with a lot of things. And I also, for anybody watching or listening, I will be putting a link to Lauren's meditation you said you have, right? On releasing emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I'm going to put up that meditation, a link, so if you want to find that, that'll be in the description box. So I think it's about that time to say goodbye for now, and we'll see you later. And Lauren, before we jump off of this, any last words, any motivation, anything you want to talk about? The floor is yours.
You are love, baby. You are love. Hey, hey.
Yes.
Eternal truth is inside of you.
Yes.
We are the
Divinity.
rainbow. Yes.
Flows inside of you. I love it.
Within the rainbow realm, you will feel your truth.
I love it. I want to go to the rainbow realm now.
We're in it.
Yes. We're in it. We are in it. Don't forget that. That is very important. No matter what is going on in the world, know that we are in a field of pure unconditional love. And that doesn't change, and it's never going to change. It can't. That's all that there is. Love is all that there is. Although these illusions and constructs before us might try to convince us otherwise. Know the truth, and you have access to love, access to peace at all moment in time, any moment in time, no matter what's happening around you. That doesn't change. And you are love. That's who you are. So remember that. Keep the focus on that. Detox from social media and news if you have to, if you feel that your energy is a little spiky. That's what I call it, spiky.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You feel spiky. Yeah, it's just weird, but that's how I feel sometimes.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you feel like that, maybe it's time to do some cleansing, spend some time by yourself, detox off of that social media. What's the first thought when you wake up, Um, so yeah, that's very important for us right now, even though we want to stay glued to the news because of everything that's happening. The change doesn't happen by us watching. The change happens by us doing. So, doing for yourself is doing for the collective. Doing for the collective is doing for yourself. We are one. That is all. That is my stream of consciousness for the show.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Source, angels, and guides who have been here to support this podcast. For anyone listening, may you be blessed and blessed for all of your days, infinitely on all timelines and dimensions. Ashe.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys. Until next time, ciao. Mucho love. Bye.